Thank you for watching another live edition of Inside the Pylon. Fidel Barraza here alongside Chris Arzola. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, what's going on, man? How's it going? It's good to be back. I know we were gone for like a week or so it's good to be back. I hope everyone's doing well out there.
Yeah, doing good, Chris. Hey, look, it's kind of crazy to think we're kind of halfway through the year as far as the regular season goes.
Yeah, week 8, right? We were just talking about that. We're like, what the heck? That's crazy that how fast we already got here to week 8. So we had a lot of stunners this past week. So we'll be obviously talking about that, and then we'll be looking ahead as well to Thursday night game, which is tomorrow night.
Yeah, Chris, let's kind of recap real quick. Week 7 in the NFL. Obviously, you had last Thursday, you had Jacksonville going to New Orleans. Um, Trevor Lawrence was hurt. He was wearing knee brace. So a lot of people didn't know he was going to play or not. He did, and Jacksonville ended up winning the game. But the
Yeah.
the biggest story, I guess, out of that game was that the way that Derek Carr was kind of like throwing his tantrums on the sidelines. Obviously, you can tell he was getting irritated. He was mad. The Saints did not look good at all in the first half. They ended up making a comeback almost, and yeah, and then you have you know a game between the Falcons and the Buccaneers that was really close. The Falcons are in first place in that division. Who would have thought?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, you got PJ Walker leading the Browns to a victory after Deshaun Watson gets knocked out with the shoulder injury. He might go on IR. He just doesn't look right out there.
Yep.
Um, Baltimore destroying Detroit,
Oh
38
man,
to 6. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming.
I
But
didn't
to
see that
me,
one.
I think the biggest upset the whole week, Chris, was on Monday Night Football. Minnesota Vikings beating the Niners 22 to 17.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I think they handled them pretty well in that game. I think the score was actually closer than what the game kind of looked like to me. I felt like the Niners, unfortunately, they kind of struggled with their offense, right? They couldn't get it really going. Obviously, they had some injuries with Debo being out. I think CMC was even out too for a short period of time, wasn't he? Right? Um,
No, Chris, actually, I don't think he missed one offensive play. He played the whole game.
Oh my god, okay, so it
Yeah.
just seemed like he was just a non-factor then, so,
Well,
um
Chris,
go
I,
ahead.
I I do want to point out that Trent Williams was out, so that might have had something to do
Yeah.
with him not being able to, with his numbers. I mean, he had 15 carries for 45 yards and one touchdown. Um, But I mean, yeah, I mean, essentially, a lot of people were thinking this was going to be a blowout. Kirk Cousins played a really good game,
Mhm.
45 for 378 yards, two touchdowns. The person that really stood out to me was rookie Jordan Addison, receiver at a USC. He
Mhm.
had 7 receptions for 123 yards and two touchdowns.
He was making it look pretty easy out there. I
He
mean,
was.
I mean, he was able to get open on some routes. I was kinda watching some of the different routes that he was doing, and, I think him and, from the replays I was seeing, him and Kirk Cousins are getting on the same page. So I think, this is a good thing for the Vikings moving forward. I mean, obviously, they've been kinda talking about, Kirk Cousins, was he gonna get traded? Is he gonna get traded for the trade deadline? Is he gonna be traded after the season? What's going to happen, right? Are they going to bring in someone along the lines? Are they going to start tanking, like, and start getting into the Caleb Williams sweepstakes? So I think this just adds a different dimension to that offense. So then when Justin Jefferson does come back, they obviously know that they have a great wide receiver in Jordan Addison as well. So I think this will benefit them not only this season when Justin Jefferson does return, but I think going forward as well. I think this is going to add a different dimension to this offense. And they're obviously struggling. They did bring in Cam Akers as well. He did have 10 carries for 31 yards as well. Alexander Madison 8 carries for 39 yards. So I still think they're still struggling to find a rushing attack there with the
Yep.
Vikings, but I think with them too in the backfield, I think they're very capable of getting it done. Those two running backs in particular are really good out of the backfield catching the ball, right? So I'm excited to kind of see how they're going to add Cam Akers to their dimension into their offense. But yeah, I mean, it was good to see the Vikings still playing because I mean, obviously last year too they had a great season. They just kind of took a step back this year with losing Justin Jefferson pretty early in the season.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if you're Minnesota, why would you want to get rid of Kirk Cousins? The second best player on this team besides Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
But we know how important the quarterback position is in this league. Look, he balled out, man. And there's people saying that hey, he doesn't do good on prime time.
that's exactly what it
He's
was.
playing well because
Yeah.
essentially he knows that he's probably not going to be there next season.
Mhm.
So he's
Mhm.
showcasing what he can be,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
specifically to a team that they played against, the Niners, because Brock Purdy is still on a rookie quarterback contract, right? You're not paying him a lot of money, right?
Mhm.
The last 2 weeks he struggled, right? Um, so and then Kyle Shanahan did want to trade for Kirk Cousins a couple
Yeah.
years back.
Mhm.
So I mean, to me, he's kind of showing like, hey, look, I still got the juice. If I'm available, come get me.
I'm taking a look at the stats right now, and Brock Purdy ended up, 21 for 30, which is actually really not that bad with 272 yards, one touchdown. I think the biggest thing that hurt them was the two interceptions,
Yeah, and
right?
Chris, I think on the first one there was some mixed bad communication between him and Juwan Jennings, I want to say.
Mhm.
And then the second one, look, he apparently he got a concussion, Chris. So I think after that, it might have been that.
Yeah.
Apparently he didn't show any symptoms till they were on the plane going back
Correct.
to
Yep.
Santa Clara. So,
Mhm.
and he's actually in protocol now, and more than likely he's not going to be able to play on Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals. A really important game for both teams.
I mean, from all indications, it sounds like Sam Darnold's probably going to be starting for the 49ers on Sunday, which I mean, I think that absolutely hurts them, right? They're kind of reeling right now, losing two in a row. So having Sam Darnold in here, I think he's a very capable quarterback. I just think, kind of hopping in right off the back, what's his dynamic going to be? Is Debo Samuel going to be back? It's just kind of those different things. Is he able to get on the same page with these number one wide receivers right off the bat, or what that looks like? But I think Sam Darnold's capable. But honestly, right now the Bengals they're playing
They
really
need a
well.
win, Chris. They need a
Yeah,
win.
I think they're playing really well. I think they're kind of starting to gel a little bit more. And so I know we're not probably picking picture now, but for me, I think I'm going with the Bengals this week, just based on how I feel like they're playing right now.
Yeah, Trent Williams didn't practice today. Christian McCaffrey did. So I mean, Trent Williams. I mean, I don't think he's going to play this weekend either.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then Debo's got a hairline fracture in the shoulder.
hmm hmm
Yeah, I don't think he's going to
I
play
don't think
either.
he's playing either. Yeah, I don't think he's playing either. So I mean, the fact that they could be losing Purdy, Trent Williams, and Debo Samuel, I'm just feeling like the Bengals are just a tad bit more healthier on their side than what the San Francisco 49ers are looking like on their end. That's the reason why I'm kind of going with the Bengals this week.
Yeah, and now essentially the Seahawks and the Niners have the same record. They're both 5-2, I believe,
hmm Yeah,
if not
they
close
are.
to it. So, very important game again for both teams this Sunday, and
hmm
we'll see what happens with that. Chris, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. They lost to the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick got his 300th career win in the NFL.
hmm
The Bills have not looked like themselves essentially all season, besides a couple of games. What do you think's going on with them?
I mean, I definitely think one of the things is their running game. I mean, I feel like they just cannot get a running game. I think we've been talking about this for years now. I think the other thing is that Sean McDermott has not been able to put a line together to get in front of Josh Allen to open up holes for some of these running backs. PFF has the Bills' offensive line ranked 21st in the NFL. I just think that's not very high for a Super Bowl contending is what most people were expecting, coming into this season, a Super Bowl contending, if not an AFC championship team. So I just think, offensive line playing 21st this year, they are still ranked in the top 15 for overall, rushing per game. But still, I mean, I still don't think it's getting it done. They have 112.9 yards per game, with literally Josh Allen being 67.2 yards per game of that 112. So as you can see, they're not getting much production from the running back, the running back position. So I think it just kind of revolves around the running game and giving Josh Allen some extra support there.
Yeah, and then I know they have some key injuries on the defense, right? That doesn't help out anything.
hmm
But I still would have figured this team would have figured some things out. I didn't see them losing the Patriots.
No, I mean, I think what it is too is that, being that the Patriots and Bills, they play each other a lot, right? So this is
Division rival.
a division game. You see them a lot. You see film on them a lot. I think both of these teams, honestly, when they're playing against each other, just like I feel like Bills and Dolphins or Bills and Jets, it's always a good game. I feel like all these teams, they kind of know each other. They know their schemes. They know what's coming. And so sometimes I think it's kind of a flip of a coin with some of these division rival games. So even though I didn't see the Patriots winning this game, obviously they pulled it out, and good for them because they were reeling as well. But obviously 4-3 for the Bills. This I like we were just talking about earlier. You mentioned that three losses. That was probably all that. I think they had three losses all of last year, right? So so yeah, we'll see how. There's plenty of football left, but we'll see if they can get it together. I think it starts with the offense line. I think it starts with the running game.
Yeah, and we'll see how they respond tomorrow night against the they got against Tampa
Tampa
Bay
Bay.
Buccaneers.
Hmm.
So, Chris, let's talk about that game. So Baker Mayfield, uh, Chris Godwin, and Vita Vea are both, or all three of them are questionable for tomorrow
Hmm.
night's game. I think this is going to be a pretty good bounce back game for the Bills. What do you think?
I think this is a bounce back game for the Bills. I mean, losing Baker Mayfield, I thought he's been playing well this year. Coming into this year, a lot of people were, pretty low on Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask being in the backfield for the Buccaneers, and so. Baker has him 3-3. 3-3. He is questionable with the knee injury this week, so obviously it's going to be Kyle Trask's game, possibly depending on if Baker's able to play. But I just don't see how the Bills don't come in. They're playing at Buffalo. I mean, I just don't see how the Buccaneers go into Buffalo and beat them at their house. Like you said, they're kind of reeling. I think Josh Allen's going to play and have one hell of a game. And, without any support, I think he's able to get it done. Of course, he's going to be spreading around to his wide receivers because his tight end Dawson Knox will be out this week due to a wrist injury, and also Morris, the backup tight end, will also be out as well. So two tight ends for them will be out. So I think look for their wide receiving core to have a big game as well.
Yeah, I like the Bills tomorrow night,
Yeah,
and I like the Bills by a lot. I think tomorrow,
I
especially if
like
Baker
them by
doesn't
a
play.
lot. I like them by at least two touchdowns, if not close to two touchdowns. Probably like 10 to 14 points. I see it somewhere in there.
Yeah, and especially if Baker doesn't play, Chris Godwin.
Yep,
Yeah, I don't like their chances too much. But they have been playing well, right? I mean, they
absolutely.
lost a heartbreaker against the Falcons last week, and that was a hell of
Yeah.
a game.
Yeah, it was a great game. Great game. Like I said, I mean, no, not a lot of people expected them to be 3-3. I mean, they were one of those teams that were going to be possibly in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. So again, Baker's been playing well. You got to give him some props. He's got him at 3-3. That's 500. I mean, that's a lot better than a lot of people were expecting for sure.
Yeah, Chris, what game are you looking forward to the most this weekend? I mean, there's quite a few games on here that that have my interest. One of them being the Browns and Seahawks.
That's a good one. That's a good one for me. Um, I'm thinking Jacksonville and Pittsburgh. I'll be straight up honest with you. I was pretty low on Pittsburgh coming in.
I was too.
I wasn't high on Kenny Pickett.
No,
Right.
I'm
I mean,
still not.
we knew that the Kenny Pickett George Pickens duo could possibly be good. Right. Meaning George Pickens
Pick it to
being a
Pickens. Say
yeah,
that three times
exactly, yeah,
fast.
right. Pickett to Pickens, right? Because I'm just still not 100% sold on Pickett, right? Obviously George Pickens is a great wide receiver. He does need someone to throw it to him, and I was pretty low on them. Najee Harris was coming out, and he was playing very well to start off the year. Obviously, there was talk about Jalen Warren and how he was going to complement that backfield. I think he's done a great job. So I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, and obviously what they got going on, they've been a great team, and honestly, I think they're on a roll right now. And so with Trevor Lawrence, the way he's been playing, I think this is a great game that I can't wait to watch. Jacksonville and Pittsburgh Steelers this coming week, 5-2 versus 4-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. So pretty excited to to watch that game.
Yeah, that game's interesting as well. And then you also have uh, the Texans. I mean, Texans surprising a lot of a lot of people around the
Yeah.
league, right? They're doing better than what a lot of people were expecting.
Yeah.
They're playing Carolina. Carolina hasn't won a game this year.
Hmm.
Essentially, the first quarterback drafted and the second quarterback drafted going against each other for the first time.
Hmm.
You get the Vikings and the Packers. That's a very important matchup in that division as well because you got Detroit. They just lost last week, right? So
Hmm.
Detroit is the favorite to win this division, right? But who's going to be
Absolutely.
the team that's going to push him? To me,
I think,
Minnesota showed me a lot.
yeah, I think it's going to be Minnesota. That's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, the Packers are still trying to figure out what they have in Jordan Love, and I mean, obviously, I've been watching, different sports outlets all week, and man, they've just been bashing him left and right. Is he this quarterback? Is he that quarterback? I mean, a lot of people, they say right around, Thanksgiving, you know what you have in a quarterback. It's a little bit past the halfway mark in the NFL. And again, they don't give these guys a lot of time, especially the fact that he's been in the system already for 3 years. Yes, he hasn't been playing. So, I'm hearing a lot of negativity throughout the media about how Jordan Love has been playing. He has been struggling. It is pretty evident. It's pretty clear. But there has been some injuries definitely too on that side of the ball. So, you do have to acknowledge that. But we'll see. I think that's an important game. But I mean, I think the way Minnesota's playing, if they can get, Addison involved again like they did, and maybe some Cam Akers and Alexander Madison running the ball and get them started, I think that the Vikings are going to pull this one off. And that's just kind of what I feel, just because we're still not sure what's what Jordan Love's all about, and if he's able to lead this team. So
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking about injuries, Chris, Ryan Tannehill is going to be out with an ankle injury. So it will be rookie quarterback Will Levis, first career start in the NFL, and that's going to be against the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of rumors coming out now that possibly Tennessee's open to moving Derrick Henry. One of the
mhm.
teams linked to him had been the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep,
We saw Kevin Byard, safety, being traded earlier in the week to the Eagles,
yep.
and that was a big pickup for them.
Absolutely. I mean, that just tells me. I mean, that tells everybody. I mean, it's pretty evident. You don't, you can basically read the book. I mean, they're going all in. They're going all in, right? They're going all in. Making a move like that just reassures their back of their defense. And so, I mean, the fact that they just added another person to their secondary, great secondary already, and now they're adding another piece. I mean, it's just the amount of depth. We've been talking about it for, before the season even started. The amount of depth that the D line has, just overall, the honestly the defense that they have a lot of depth. A lot of depth. I was watching the game and they were just talking about every person that is on the front seven for them, and just how many people they're rotating in and out of the games, keeping them fresh. I mean, to add another piece to your defense, man, and a good piece too. I mean, these guys they're going all in once again.
Yeah, and they're not done yet either. From what I'm seeing, Howie Roseman has made calls out to different teams trying to acquire players.
Great
So
GM,
obviously, yeah, he's a great GM, and
great
obviously
GM.
they're going all in.
Yeah. No, nothing wrong with that. They see obviously what they have in their offense and their defense, and they're only a couple pieces away. I mean, they were there last year. They got a taste of it. They know what they need to get to stop Patrick Mahomes or whoever may come out of the AFC. So I mean, I think they're getting ready. They're getting ready. It's the end of October. We're getting into the winter months, and usually you know what those winter months mean. They make or break seasons, and so I think being in week 8, it's right around that time where you're either going to start kind of making a push here, or you're going to drop back and you're going to be one of the ones that are selling off players in the trade deadline.
Yeah, Chris. Before we end tonight's show, I got to bring up the Raiders. Obviously, I'm a Raider fan. You're a Raider fan. It
Yeah.
was pretty fucking embarrassing last weekend when they played against the Bears. Look, I mean, essentially everyone had this marked as a
Everybody,
win for the Raiders.
everybody.
You're going against a quarterback and what's Tyler Bagent,
Yeah, yeah, right. I
Division
don't
two
even.
quarterback,
Yeah,
first
exactly.
career
Hard.
start in the NFL. And yeah, the Raiders just essentially never got off the plane because they didn't play well at all. Like
No.
everything, like it just went to shit pretty quick.
Yeah, no, it was pretty evident as soon as they stepped foot on that field that they just weren't there. I mean, I want to even point out, Bleacher Report today put out, to me, a terrible article. Raiders rumors Devontae Adams, Max Crosby trades before deadline doubt by executives. I mean, I think this is just clickbait. One,
Oh,
I
Chris, it's
mean,
100% bullshit. They're not going to
yeah,
trade Max Crosby. They're
exactly
not going
right,
to trade Devontae Adams.
exactly right.
They're not going to.
So
Hunter Renfro, you know who they are going to trade? It's going to be Hunter Renfro.
Hunter Renfro, yeah,
And guess what?
and
If they don't trade him by this weekend, he's going to be a healthy and active on Monday Night Football.
yep. I mean, so I mean, go out there. There's articles talking about Hunter Renfro, about how he kind of been, ever since his injury from last year, he's just kind of been trying to figure out a role, trying to figure out where
Yeah,
his place is at, and he just
and Chris,
hasn't.
and that was a nasty hit that he took, but essentially
Yeah,
that kind of led to all the other bad things that happened last season because
yeah.
he catches it, doesn't fumble the ball. They win the
Mm-hmm.
game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I feel like they kind of added a different piece in Jacoby Myers, and I think he kind of filled a role that Hunter was playing at one point. As you can see, he's been getting involved a lot in the
Yeah,
offense. Meaning Jacoby, and so I think now that the Raiders just feel like it's time to move on. Hunter don't want to be there. Seems like they don't kind of want Hunter to be there. I think it's just time to kind of move on, unfortunately. And I think honestly, he's a great player. Whoever's going to get him, I think he's going to flourish. And it's like one of those situations where sometimes a new beginning or a fresh start for some players, it really kind of opens them up and starts showing that. Because I mean, we saw what his ability is. He's a very capable player, very
yeah, he
capable
is.
player. So,
Yeah,
um,
I can
just
see it.
unfortunate.
I can see a team like Minnesota, Atlanta. I think would make a lot of sense to me. But wherever he's going to go, he's going to play good, and
Yeah.
hopefully the Raiders are going to be able to get something, good for him. But probably not. Just not the, just not the way that the shit works for the Raiders.
You're exactly right. I was thinking the same exact thing. I honestly, I mean, I wouldn't see him. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of somewhere possibly where he might land. Maybe somewhere like New Orleans. I mean, I
New
think
Orleans.
I think. I mean, I think with the Chris Olave thing that's kind of going on over there, Michael Thomas still hasn't been playing well. It could be something that they may could be open to.
Maybe, but wherever he's going to go, I hope he does well, and I think he will.
I think it will too.
But Chris, something's got to give. I mean, they have a big game on Monday Night Football against the Lions. The Lions is, I think this is the first Monday Night Football game since 2018. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be loud. It's gonna be, there's just a lot of shit going on with this team. Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think, has gotten cleared yet to play on Monday Night Football. So if he doesn't
Exactly.
play, it's gonna be Aiden O'Connell. Um, just this team is like in a bad spot. You got Marcus Peters, doesn't know how to fucking tackle. He doesn't want to tackle. Get his ass off the field. I don't want to
Doesn't
see
want
that
to
kind of
tackle.
shit. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing. But something's got to give, Chris. So what is that something going to be?
I just think that we're playing people that just don't want to be out there. But what's going to give? I mean, I truly think that at some point in time, it has to be the front office. Either it's going to be Josh McDaniels or it's going to be Ziegler. I mean, I think the Patriot way of what these two guys kind of came over and stuff like that. We're trying to make it the Patriot way by bringing in all these expatriates and different things like that. I just think it's not working out. Like it's not working out, and I think it probably honestly I'm just tired as a Raider fan. One
I am
continuing
fucking tired. I am
to
tired of
continue
this
to
shit.
yeah to continue to fire
Yeah.
coaches or coaches leave because of whatever the hell else they do. I just think it's really terrible as an organization, as a fan, to continue to have to go through all these different firings and stuff. But I just feel like it's just he's losing the locker room, man. I feel like he's losing the locker room. I mean, it's pretty blatant. The fans are not happy with the coaching. Is it all the coaching? I don't know. I think maybe sometimes the guys are not just they're not out there too. They're not trying to play hard, like you said, right? Marcus Peters. I mean, this guy has been a multi-year,
I don't
player,
get and you
Pro
know what, Chris?
Bowler.
He needs to change his number. He can't be wearing 24 and playing shit like that.
Yeah,
Can't do it.
exactly.
Get his
Yeah.
ass out. I'm tired of
Exactly.
it.
That's disrespect to Charles Woodson on
And Willie
so many
Brown.
levels, and Willie
Yeah.
Brown. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think at somewhere where it basically I guess starts is it starts in the front office. I think maybe it's time for a change, and um, Mark Davis keeps continuing to give these people some big time contracts, and he doesn't have the money to be continue to pay these different people and stuff like that. I mean, John Gruden, 10-year contract, and he
Hey, but
brings
look,
in
but Chris, I mean that John Gruden thing. I mean, obviously that shit was when the emails got leaked out. It
yeah,
was it was off his hands. Look, I don't blame Mark Davis for everything. I really don't. And I mean, yeah, fans want Josh McDaniels fired. Okay, the team is 3-4 right now. If you fire this man, who is going to be the coach moving forward? What kind of message is that going to send to the locker room? I say you got to stick with him the rest of the year at least. At least you have to
yeah.
stick with them.
Oh, for sure, for sure. No, yeah, yeah,
Jimmy Garoppolo, he's got to play. He's got to play, man. I mean, and look, he's got an injury history. I understand that, but
exactly
still,
right.
you got to figure something out, man.
Yeah. I mean, we came into even, into the year talking about like if he gets injured, like it's going to be a very different team than if he was going to stay healthy and be on the field, right? And that's the issue that were in the situation of the whole reason why, his conference got pushed back and everything like that because of the foot injury,
Hmm.
wasn't passing, clearing different things like that. So obviously we knew, yes, he has an injury history. Everybody knows that. And now the fact that, like, even in the first couple games, man, he took a couple hits and stuff, and there were, some possible concussion. He
Yeah,
had to go in the
that
10. Yeah,
first game against Denver.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's just damn, like this guy continues to put himself in situations to get injured. If it's, I don't know if it's the line, if it's him holding
It's
on to the ball
multiple
too,
things, Chris, and then also
you
too the
know,
defensive. They don't fear the Raiders throwing the ball deep because he can't. If Jimmy Garoppolo is understood, he does not throw the ball deep,
he
so that
doesn't.
leads to them stacking up the box and Josh
Absolutely.
Jacobs not being able to run the football.
Yep. No, absolutely. And that's exactly what we've been seeing this
Say what
year.
you want about Derek Carr, but he was able to get the ball downfield.
He was. He was. Absolutely. I'm sure if we take a look at the big plays that the Raiders have had in 6 weeks, because Jimmy Garoppolo has not played in the past two or one. So if you look at probably, big plays from 6 weeks last year to this year, I'm pretty positive that our big plays from week 6 from last year to this year are different because Derek Carr was able to push the ball downfield to Devontae Adams and give him a chance. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's what the issue is that they're doing a lot of slants and a lot of like little dump offs to Devontae, and he's getting pissed about it because yes, he's getting targets, but he's not getting the actual yardage or not finding the end zone. And that's what really is mattering. Obviously, like he said, he's not here to just be just a decent player. He's here to bring
Yeah.
greatness every time, and that greatness comes with scoring touchdowns. And so I feel like, I mean, I feel for him. I feel for him because again, Jimmy Garoppolo's not out there. We saw the quarterbacks that we have right now. I just feel like our backup quarterbacks they just can't handle it. So I don't know. It's gonna be a tough matchup against the Lions, man. I mean, I know the Lions just lost this past week. I'm still pretty high on the Lions. I think they showed a lot this year so far. Still, obviously they showed not a lot last week. So
Yeah,
and
they should
unfortunately,
shit. Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So unfortunately, I think because they didn't show shit last week, I think that they're going to come in and um, they're going to play really well. And I think the Raiders have to match their energy. And if they don't, then I think they could possibly get blown out again out of the building if they don't match that energy that the Lions are going to bring.
Chris, the Raiders need this game more than the Lions.
Absolutely.
They need to win this game.
Absolutely. And that's what
Yeah, I
I'm saying.
mean,
If they can't match that energy that the Lions are going to bring from getting pissed on 38-6, right, by the Ravens, then if they don't match that energy that the Lions are going to bring, then again, I think the Raiders are going to get blown out. And like you said, they need this game more than the Lions do, so they absolutely need to come in and match that energy.
Chris, this game is going to dictate the season moving forward. If they win or lose,
Yeah, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I totally agree. Again, I think it's clickbait that Bleacher Report's coming out with this
they're not
stuff
going to trade
about
Devontae Adams. They're not
exactly
going to trade Max
or Max
Crosby.
Crosby. So I just think it's clickbait for that type of stuff. But I think it's gonna determine a lot of different things, but it's not going to determine any of those guys being traded. So I think that's clickbait by Bleacher Report, and I thought that was a bad article by them. So I wanted to kind of point that out.
Yeah. All right. Rant over. Um, Just it
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
be said.
exactly.
I've been
Yeah,
I've been essentially holding this crap in since
it's
Sunday, even though I get
frustrating.
to watch the whole game because I was on
Yep,
the road majority of the day. But yeah, man, they gotta win. They gotta win on Monday,
yeah,
point blank.
absolutely.
Show hopefully Jimmy Garoppolo is able to play
I hope so.
because
I
I
hope
mean
so.
to me that gives the team the best chance to win on Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yep,
I agree.
cool. All right, Chris. Before we end tonight's show, any final thoughts?
No, I mean, I can't even believe, like you said, it's week 8. Life comes at you fast. Football comes at you fast. So, we're continuing to be here and bring some great stuff, and excited just to see how the rest of the season is going to shape out. And yeah, that's pretty much my final thoughts. So I appreciate everyone out there that's listening and watching, and we'll see you again later on this week or next week.
All right. Well, thank you everyone out there for watching and listening. That's gonna end tonight's show. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.